watching. And today we are going to introduce you proper use of microscope. So let's have a look of our compound microscope here. This is a compound microscope. And the use of microscope is to help you to see fine details of objects. And let's have a look of different parts of this compound microscope. We could have a look. This is our ocular. Here you could see the word ocular lens, and you could adjust this ocular lens according to your interpupillary distance. So we are going to have a look of this part. This is our optical head, and going down here is our turret, or you could say it nose piece. And this part is important because every time you want to change your objective lenses, here is our 4 different objective lenses with different colors. See, here is white color. The longest one showed you the white color, and the shortest one for our 4 times objective lens shows you in red color. So we have 4 different objective lenses attached to our nose piece. The thing I want to introduce and to emphasize is when you want to change to different objective lenses, you need to use the nose piece instead of holding to our objective lens to change to different objective lens. So this is something I want to emphasize to you. Then let's have a look of here. This is our arm. Talking about the arm of our microscope, I want to emphasize every time when you hold your microscope, you need to use your 2 hands. One hand you basically attach the arm, another hand you support the base. So you use 2 hands to carry our expensive microscope. Let's go to the stage part. Here we have the stage where you could have the slide placed. Every time when you place a slide, you touch it. Here is our top side. So sometimes it's confusing with which side would be the top side, which side would be the bottom side. But when you touch here, you could notice. So the cover slip is on the top side. And here is our slide retainer. You carefully place your slide like this here. And then you could use the mechanical stage retaining screw to rotate it like this to the perfect position. And we have the lighthouse providing you the light like this. We could plug in here. Okay. And then you want to turn on the power like this, and here is our rear start. Please have a look of your slide to know the word rear start. So there is our rear start to adjust the light intensity through the lighthouse and also through the Irish diaphragm lever here. So there we also have Irish diaphragm, another part allowing you to adjust the light intensity. So we have 2 parts to adjust light intensity. Here is our rear start, here is our Irish diaphragm, so 2 parts. We are going to have a look of how to adjust to the best position for you to view our slide by having the coarse focus knob. You could adjust the distance between our objective lens and our slide or our sample. So by adjusting the coarse focus, this one, big one. So one thing I want to emphasize is when you want to use the coarse focus to adjust the distance between your sample and the objective lens, the one thing you need to pay attention is only you are allowing to adjust using the coarse focus when you have 4 times the shortest objective length in position, in this position. When then you could adjust and see through your ocular lens, and when it's in focused, you could change to 10 times. And when you change to 10 times, you are going to use fine focus. So here is our coarse focus, the big one, and the fine focus would be the smaller ones, would be your fine focus to adjust the distance between your sample and the objective lens. So this is all the things I want to introduce to you about our compound microscope. Let's have a look at our slide. Learning how to use a microscope is like learning how to drive a car, because different compound microscope has different characters. So you need to really know the character of your microscope. And here is some safety rules of using microscope. You still need to pay attention to. Again, 2 hands always carry your expensive microscope, and unwrap the power cord and plug into the outlet, switch the power on. You know the power is here, and turn up the light level. We using the rear start as I showed you before. We always have the 4 times in position. 4 times, let's record as red color. Objective lens 4 times in position. And when you begin use your microscope, you need to have 4 times in position. When you finish using the microscope, you need to have the 4 times in position and have the stage into its lowest part. So the stage would be this, using the coarse focus to adjust the stage to its lowest position. So this would be the beginning or start of using your microscope, and when you finish the end part of using the microscope, put everything in its original place. So let's have a look. Again, use nose piece when you want to adjust to 10 times, 40 times, 100 times. Use nose piece. Always hold your nose piece to change different objective lenses. So we have the slide placed into the stage, and I also mentioned to you that sometimes you'll get confused. Why I cannot focus my slide? That is because you get confused with different parts. You have the top side and the bottom side. You always want to view your slide from the top side. So when you have cover slip attached onto your slide, you know, well, this is my top side. But when you make your own slide, you need to label correctly. That indicates which part would be the top side, which part would be the bottom side. So this is something I want to talk to you. Again, slide retainer, this part to hold firmly with your slide. Carefully move the spaceman to the center of the stage above the aperture using the mechanical stage knob, this one. So we are going to look through the eyepiece and adjust the light intensity using 2 parts, iris diaphragm and the rear stud, this part. So looking from the side, slowly turn the coarse adjustment knob. Again, 4 times you are allowed to use coarse adjustment knob to adjust your microscope. And this is very capital. Microscope objective lenses should never touch the slide. Keep in mind, we are going to talk about the, again, coarse adjustment knob. This is really important. Use 4 focus the image as you move the stage down and away from the objective. Stop when the image is in focus. We are going to show you the total procedure of using the microscope later on. So this part I'm going to introduce all the safety rules of using microscope. Looking into the microscope and readjust the mechanical stage so that your sample is in the center view and the iris diaphragm is if you want to adjust light intensity. We are going to talk about the parafocal and paracentric concept of our compound microscope. So the lenses are always parafocal, that means it's always in focus if you focus your sample. And paracentric, meaning an object centered in one lens should be always centered in all the lenses. When you change to 10 times, 40 times, they are all parafocal and paracentric. Please know the concept. They may be in our quiz. So 10 times we are going to change from 4 times to 10 times. So use the nose piece to change to 10 times. And the one part is when you change to the correct position, you are going to hear the clicking sound. Use only again the fine adjustment knob to focus and center your sample. If needed, switch to the next objective lenses by clicking. Again, clicking. So Alala, you could come here. Maybe we could hear the clicking sound. When you get the correct position, you could hear this clicking sound. So very faint, but you know it's in its right position. Again, only use a fine adjustment knob to focus when you go to the higher power, 10 times, 40 times, and 100 times. Make sure the objective is not touching the slide when switching them. Center your sample if needed. We are going to go from 40 times to 100 times, still use this fine focus. And for the 100 times, this is something I want to talk about. 100 times also has a name, oil immersion lens. Oil, that means you need to get oil immersion lens, and you are going to add 1 drop of oil over your slide here. So when you want to add oil, what you want to do is you want to place your nose piece, the 2 objective lenses like this to give you a space. So you could add 1 drop of oil, probably 2, but here seems 1 should be enough. 1 drop of oil over your slide, and then change to fine focus. And the tricky part of using our compound microscope would be you want to allow your 100 times oil immersion lens to touch the slide, touch the oil but not touch the slide. Again, let me say it one more time. Always allow your 100 times of oil immersion lens touch the oil but not touch the slide. That means they still have slight, very small distance between your sample and the objective lens. So what do you mean by touch the oil? So this would be the idea of touching the oil like this. Touch the oil but not touch the slide. Okay, so we are going to move to the next part. Adjust the fine focus when you focus to 100 times, and move the mechanical stage if necessary to find a good field of view. And why we need to add oil? Why? Because oil has a higher refractive index than air. The light bend more, the light from the air bend more to the oil. So you could create a better image when you add oil for the 100 times objective lens. So sometimes you have problems. You say, well, why cannot focus the image? There's some issues. Probably you have 40 times 100 times touches the slide. That is the issue you should avoid. And the orientation of slide, which side would be the correct side? So this would be the issue where you cannot focus. So make sure you get the correct side. Proper focus, that means you want to use the fine focus to adjust to that position. Only that position allow you to get focus of everything. So adjust the fine focus. Blurry views, especially 40 times, you say, why I cannot focus from my 40 times objective lenses? That is because some people accidentally have the oil go to the 40 times. This is our 40 times blue colored objective lens. Sometimes some people, when after they finish using 100 times, they go back to 40 times and accidentally oil attached to 40 times, and this is not allowed. 40 times are not supposed to touch the oil, so you want to use a cleaning solution. So this is our cleaning solution because we use oil for our 100 times objective lenses, so you want to have something to remove the oil. So this is always, you want, when you finish using the microscope, you want to find the lens cleaner. So this is our lens cleaner to clean our 100 times objective lens. And this is not the lens paper. So we are also have our lens paper. Yes. So something like this, lens solution, cleaning solution, and the lens paper to clean your microscope. So this is something I really want to focus. When you have blurry view, also you want to use the lens paper. Always use lens paper and the lens cleaner. Not paper towel, not Kim wipe, but lens cleaner and lens paper to clean your compound microscope from your 100 times. Sometimes 40 times is blurry, so you use these two things to clean your compound microscope. Let's have a look. When finished viewing again, because this is so important and people always carelessly left some oil on our compound microscope. So this is some part I really emphasize a lot. When finished using the microscope needs to be cleaned and put away. Again, lower the stage. First go to our 4 times. Lower our stage to its lowest position. 4 times is in its position. And use the lens cleaner and the lens paper. So lens paper is different from our Kim wipe or paper towel. So you get some cleaning solution. Get our 100 times. Clean it because it touched the oil, so you want to clean it. After finish cleaning it, you want to check. Use another clean lens paper. You want to double confirm. Well, there is no oil anymore. That's good. You get clean compound microscope. But sometimes some people get oil still left. You will get the view like this still. So this is something you need to make sure. Remove and clean off the slide. Also use the lens cleaner and the lens paper to clean the slide. Wipe off the oil from the objectives with lens paper and the lens cleaner, and clean off any other parts if necessary, especially 40 times if you accidentally have oil attached. So next thing, when you finish using the compound microscope, you have the rear start go to its lowest level. You want to have the light go to lowest level before you turn off the power. So lowest level and turn off the power. So wrap up the power cord, carry it safely, use 2 hands and close the cabinet door because, well, this is when you in a lab you want to close the cabinet door. So what I say is very expensive because it's more than $100,000. You break it, you buy it. So keep this concept in mind. You always want to carefully use your compound microscope, and this some rules again. When you use your compound microscope, at least 4 inches from the edge of the desk. Check over the microscope before you start to use it, because each student has their own microscope. So if you encounter some problem before you use this microscope, you could report to any officials. And plug in the cord and keep it out of your way and out of water. Do not lean on the bench and do not make any sudden movements of your expensive compound microscope. Be careful with all microscope slides. They are made of glass. You don't want to break yourself. And if you have any questions, ask your TA. Always use oil for the oil immersion lens. No other objective lenses should touch oil if you are using microscope properly. The slide should always be sample side up. This is something I mentioned several times. I think you should keep in mind now. Label your slide with wax pencil so you don't get confused. Make sure that you are focused on the top of the slide and not the bottom. Only use paper lens and a paper cleaner to clean your microscope. You should use your, okay, this part is fine. Some helpful tips and interesting tips and something would be in our quiz. What do you mean by magnification and resolution? Make sure you understand this concept, and this is pretty interesting. You get the light housing, provide you the light, go to the condenser lens, go through your specimen. So your specimen is supposed to be very thin layer that will not block your light penetrate through. You have your objective lenses and you have your ocular lenses. So when you see it's reversed and inverted when you the final image. So when you want to have, I'll introduce you after this slide. So you have the red color, lower power 4 times, medium power 10 times, and the high power 40 times, and our white colored longest lens would be our 100 times oil immersion lens. So what do you mean by 10 times? So if you use your low power, the total magnification of your compound microscope would be 4 multiplied by 10. So the total magnification would be 40 times when you have the shortest lower power. So this is the calculation that I want you to know. Determine how much larger an object appears under the microscope. Simply multiply the eyepiece length, always 10 times. So our compound microscope, this version would be 10 times through our ocular lens. And then you have your objective lens, either 4 or 10 or 40 or 100 times. So that equals your total magnification. Make sure you understand this concept. This would be in our quiz. And let's do a simple calculation. I know you got the answer. And this is what I mentioned, inverted and reversed. If you view an E here, the final image should show like this. Again, a very thin layer would allow the light to penetrate through. And this talking about the depth of the focus. Carefully read the slide. If you have any question, just let your TA know. There is some interesting tips from low power to high power. When you go from low power to medium power to high power, you notice first we have the shortest objective length, or 4 times would be the shortest objective length. To the medium power and high power, our highest power oil immersion length is our longest objective length. So the side of field of view decreases when you go from low power to high power. Field of view is darker, the less light would penetrate through. The size of the image increases. Resolution increases when you go from low power to high power, and the working distance decreases. Like this. When you have 4 times, you have this working distance. 4 times is the shortest one. But when you go to the 100 times working distance, the distance between your sample and objective length is the shortest. So make sure you understand this several concepts and carefully read this slide. We are going to examine the stent smears. So this would be our second part. You can finish now.